Hello, everyone. My name is Shane German, the music director at WYCE 88.1 FM in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Today, we are thrilled and honored to welcome into our virtual studio George Thorogood. In a career approaching nearly 50 years, George Thorogood and the Destroyers have sold over 15 million albums, built a classic catalog of hits, and played more than 8,000 ferocious live shows. They've opened for the Rolling Stones, broke records with their 50 Dates, 50 States tour, delivered landmark performances at Live Aid and Saturday Night Live, and became mainstays of radio, MTV, and stages worldwide. In October of 2020, Kraft Recordings released a comprehensive reissue of George Thorogood and the Destroyers' legendary live set, recorded on November 23rd, 1982, to a packed hometown audience at Boston's Bradford Ballroom. The newly remastered 27-track collection includes 12 previously unreleased tracks, including performances of Bad to the Bone, Who Do You Love, and Cocaine Blues. Also included is an epic 13-minute version of John Lee Hooker's One Bourbon, One Scotch, One Beer, the Elmore James classic The Sky is Crying, and also includes spoken introductions and audience participation. In this past year, where live shows have been virtually non-existent, you can feel the power and raw energy that was recorded to tape that special night in Boston in 1982. And if you close your eyes, you can even imagine that you were there. Please welcome to WYCE, George Thorogood.
Shane, did we really do all those things?
You did.
Oh my goodness, you're scaring me.
I walked 47 miles of barbed wire. I got a cobra snake for a necktie. Brand new house on the roadside, made it of rattlesnake hide. Brand new chin that mama built on top, made out of human skull. Come on, take a little walk with me, honey. Tell me who you love. Who you love. Who you love. Arlene took me by my hand. She said, Lonesome George, you never understand. Who do you love? Who do you love? The night was dark and the sky was blue. Down the alleyway a Cadillac flew. Hit a bump and somebody screamed. Should have heard just what I seen. Who do you love? Who do you love? I walked 47 miles of barbed wire. I got a cobra snake for a necktie. Brand new house on the roadside, made it a rattlesnake hide. Brand new chin that's built on top, made out of human skull. Come on, take a little walk with me, baby, and tell me who do you love? Who do you love? Who do you love? Who do you love?
It is a real honor and a pleasure to meet you as someone who grew up in the MTV generation and seeing you on, and you were kind of in the forefront of that medium. And to see you here today talking with us is just a real honor. Thank you so much for doing that.
Thank you, Shane. What's on your mind?
Well, I want to talk to you about that period. Basically that 1981, 1982 period. You had just, toured with the Stones, and then you did this legendary 50 states in 50 dates, basically. What I want to know is you toured that 50 dates tour in a reconverted checker cab.
No, it was brand new.
Oh, it was? But
Yeah, it wasn't a checker cab. It was a checker marathon is what it's called. And
Okay.
they used them for cabs in New York City. So it wasn't an actual cab. It's a checker marathon. They don't make them anymore.
Do you still have that car?
No, I don't.
You don't?
No.
Could you
Too many
sleep?
people kept stealing the license plate.
Could you sleep in it?
No.
No, you just drove and then you'd stay at the hotel, then go to the next state.
Yeah, like most rock people do that, you know.
Yeah,
So my days of sleeping in the car, I hope, are over.
Mine aren't. I think I've done it a couple of times more recently. I looked at that 50 dates, 50 states itinerary back then, and you actually played in Ann Arbor back then, and it was tour stop number 21 on November 12th, 1981. And you played at a venue called the Second Chance on Liberty Street in Ann Arbor. And I found this interesting tidbit. You played on a Thursday, but Monday through Wednesday at that same venue was a clown mime called Django Edwards. I think it's fascinating that a clown mime was kind of opening the venue, and then George Thorogood took it over.
Well, I'm kind of a
Thursday.
clown myself, you know. Mime isn't my best asset. You know, keeping my mouth shut doesn't work for me.
No,
That's interesting. I wish I would have known that. If it wasn't a 50-50 tour, I'd like to see something like that.
Yeah.
Did you see it?
No, I didn't. I didn't live in Michigan in 82 or 81. My dad was in the Navy, so we were stationed in Virginia Beach at that time. But what was it like? You were to be kind of sucked into this energy with the Saturday Night Live, the MTV, the Stones tour, the press that you were getting around the 50 dates, and then returning to Boston for this live performance, which, from what I read, you weren't aware that it was being recorded that night. Is that true?
I may have been, but I can't remember if it was. Generally, we record everything. Every band does. However, that night I wasn't. We didn't go in there with the idea of making a live record. It just happened to be the machine happened to be on.
And looking back, I mean, the energy of that album, it's a fantastic live record. And like I said in the beginning, if you close your eyes, you can almost imagine that you're there. There's such a connection between you, the band, and the audience. It's almost palpable what you're hearing. When you revisit it, do you have memories of that at all?
Well, tell you the truth, Shane, I've yet to hear this record. I've been hearing a lot of talk about it. I got to sit down one of these days and give it a listen, see what all the fuss is about.
Oh, it is so good. I mean,
Well, I'll take your word for it.
It really is, and you've got, you've got the audience in the palm of your hand. Now, what I read is that it was kind of in a sketchy area at the time, and
Yeah, it was called the Combat Zone, and I spent a lot of time in that area, starting in 1973. And Jeff Simon, our drummer, actually lived in the Brighton-Austin area, and you were told, mostly by the police, don't go into the Combat Zone. It was a pretty rough area. So at the Bradford Hotel, we played there. Actually, we played there on the 50-50 tour. And we came a year later for another engagement. But I was very impressed at the people who came there because they live in that area and they know, what that area was about. So, those Boston people are tough, man. They were going to go out there and brave the elements of the Combat Zone to hear a band. But, Shane, that's rock music in general. I mean, people go to all sorts of extremes to see a rock act. I mean, the Grateful Dead people hitchhike thousands of miles, and I've seen people sleeping in the streets to get Rod Stewart tickets and things of that nature. So it wasn't just us. It's just rock in general. I mean, that's what. I mean, they wanted to have. What did they sold? 50,000 tickets to Woodstock, and 400,000 people showed up. I mean, that's the nature of the beast, and we're just fortunate to be part of that. I'm just glad nobody got hurt.
Yeah.
Because the Combat Zone can be rough.
Yeah.
It can be.
Yeah. Now, you're originally from Delaware, and you kind of were a minor league baseball player, and baseball was kind of your other passion. What was it about music that pulled you? Growing up and listening to FM radio and all of that, and when was it did your parents encourage you to pick up the guitar, or how did you get?
Well, three things kept me out of the big leagues, Shane. I couldn't hit, run, or throw.
But you could play that guitar. You sure could.
And my parents would say, why would you want to go out there groveling around in the 90-degree heat, booting ground balls and striking out? And you could be on the bandstand in an air-conditioned venue with girls screaming for you like they do Mick Jagger. Mm-hmm. What's the matter with you, boy? So they straightened me out in a hurry. Remember, I might drop out a little bit here and there, like we always do.
Just like at the radio.
Okay.
One bourbon, one scotch, one beer. Hey, Mr. Bartender, looky here. Bring me a bourbon, scotch, and a beer. Ain't seen my baby since the night before last. I wanna get drunk, man, I gotta get gassed. One bourbon, one scotch, one beer. And I'll sit there at the bar, drinking bourbon, scotch, ice cold beer. I look down the bar for my bartender. I said, look at here, man, come on down here. He got down there, so what you want? One bourbon, one scotch, one beer. Ain't seen my baby since almost a week. Need a drink so bad, man, I can't even speak. Wanna get high, man, I gotta get loose. Give me a triple shot of that juice. One bourbon, one scotch, one beer. All right. Now by this time, I'm plenty high. You know when your tongue is getting dry, you're plenty high. I look down the bar for my bartender. Look at here, man. What time is it? He said the clock on the wall said 2 o'clock. Last call for alcohol. So what you want? One bourbon, one scotch, and one beer. Ain't seen my baby since I don't know when. Drinking bourbon, whiskey, scotch, and gin. Wanna get drunk, man, I'll make it real clear. I want one bourbon, one scotch, and one beer. One bourbon, one scotch, and one beer. See, that's what I'm talking about.
How was your childhood in Delaware?
Well, I won't say it was boring, but it was boring. It's a very ultra conservative place. Not growing up in New York City or Greenwich Village or Los Angeles or places like that. It was we were all really what can I say, craving excitement. You see, so when something like the Beatles hit and things like that, it was even bigger in Delaware, because we used to say nothing happens in Delaware. No one's even ever heard of it. You know, on Candid Camera was the only time Delaware was known, because they had a thing on Candid Camera that said, we're going to close Delaware. It was like supposed to be a joke, and they had a cannot enter, you know, and they did it just to see the reaction. It was right up the road from where we lived. I lived in northern Delaware, real close to Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. And that was about it. And we'd be saying, they used to say it DELAWHRE with a question mark, Delaware. So, you know, it was that. And, you know, that still is kind of stuck with us, you know. We would be banging around, playing. I go, this Delaware thing, man, if we were from England or from Texas, we'd have made it by now. So we kind of had that thing. For a while, it was kind of standing in our way. So, I said, when Joe Biden was elected, I said, aha! So every night on the news, all around the world, I said, Wilmington, Delaware. I said, if you wait long enough, Shane, your ship will come in.
Yeah, I mean, it's never too late for Delaware.
Yes, that's right.
Don't ever count out Delaware.
That's right.
You actually were the Delaware destroyers, right? When you first started out. And then you kind of adopted Boston as your hometown. You also did a lot of stuff down in the D.C. and Baltimore and D.C. blues scene.
We usually played around. We played in New England for a while, and we kind of petered out there. And we went back to the Delaware Valley area, and branched out to Baltimore. Pretty much Pennsylvania was where we played the most. There was a couple of venues in Delaware, but we played in Philadelphia and New Hope, Pennsylvania for many gigs. A lot of work up there. It's pretty much how we honed our act, tell you the truth, was during that time.
Is it true that you and Thackeray from the Nighthawks played opposing venues in Georgetown, and you were playing the same song, and you went out on Main Street, switched your guitars, and swapped venues? Is that a true story?
Why you got to bring that up? I was just starting to enjoy myself, Shane. We're playing a club. I think it was in Georgetown. I think it was called the Cellar Door. Mm-hmm. Really good club up tempo. There was a place across the street called Desperados, where the Nighthawks are playing. Now, they set this thing up for me. I don't know anything. I don't know any better. We both do Madison Blues, and they said, we're going to have to tie. I said, hey, man, I got a show. We've had our record was doing okay, and they had this thing all lined up where they were going to meet in the street at a certain time at a certain signal. Man, dig it, brothers, man. When I get on a bandstand, I don't like nobody tell me what to do, okay? I do what I do and get out of my way, right? But they had it all set up, and so they started playing this song, and I said, okay. I walked out in the street Friday night, and we switched chords, and I walked into his club, and he walked into our club, right? So I walked into his club, Desperados, Jimmy Thackeray. You got that right? And I walk into his club, and everybody started cheering. He walked into our club, and all the Nighthawks' wives were into my club, the Cellar Door. And he walked in, and they all started booing. Boo. And that was the Nighthawks' wives, okay? So I said, there you go, smart ass. You outthought yourself. Mm-hmm. And plus, those cats were playing it way too slow, man. It's too slow. He came back. Said, man, they're playing so fast. I said, hey, man, get with it, man. The chicks want tempo, man. They want it to move, baby. Yeah.
Well, you certainly you move and groove on that stage. You are an absolute icon. You've got so many hits that have just lasted,
No, remember, go back a little bit. I became the legend, not Thackeray.
I'm talking.
Yes, I became the legend. All right.
Okay. Is it fair to say that your rivalry is also legendary? Can we say that?
Our rivalry is what?
Legendary as well.
According to him.
That's awesome. Any plans to put your life story down in a book or an autobiography or something? You've got so many great stories, and for someone who's been on the road as long as you have and played with the Stones and the 50 Dates and the being at the forefront of the MTV video generation and playing Live Aid and working with leukemia foundations. You've got such a great story to tell. Any thoughts to put it down on paper?
No, how much does it pay?
Well, I'm not a publisher, so I couldn't tell you.
Hey, listen, brother. You want to hear my life story? You just listen to any one of our records, and that's my life story. Yeah. That's it, right out in front, right on the table. There's maybe a few interesting things that happen, but once I get out there and play the show, I tell my life story every night, from the time I walk on stage to the time I leave. I don't say it like that, but it just falls into place. Like, oh yeah, there's a Chuck Berry song, there's a George song, there's a Johnny Cash song, blah 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 blah, right down the line. So that pretty much tells the story of me. There you go.
Well, it's a fascinating story that's still being told, and
It's still being told.
Yeah.
Who are you talking to?
You.
That's not what I mean. You say it's still being told. I know you're talking to me.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, you're still. I mean,
who have told you these kind of things?
You're a legend. What are you talking about? No one needs to tell me. You're George Thorogood. You've been around for nearly 50 years. You're still on the road. Once this pandemic is over, aren't you getting back out there?
Oh yeah, we're booked up.
Yeah.
We've been booked up.
Yeah.
Been booked up for months, just waiting for the call.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think you got like 27 dates or something like worldwide coming up once this is over.
I think we have even more than that.
More than that.
Yeah, we got some. We got places everywhere. United States, Europe, United Kingdom, Canada, New Zealand, Australia. I lose track of some of them myself, but we've been active for years, and we're just having this thing set up. And of course, the pandemic hit us in the face like everybody else, and we're just we have to wait it out, till everything's safe and everybody's got their shots or whatever, and however way the promoters are going to figure out how to do it, we'll be. We have to be more than ready. We're already under contract, Shane. So there you have it.
Well, hopefully we can see you here in Michigan. The brand new Live in Boston 1982, the complete concert, available on 4 LPs, 2 CDs. It's available on all streaming services, is out now. It is an incredible live record. If you've been missing that live music experience in this past year, I highly recommend you take a listen to this exquisite and powerful, raw live album from the legendary George Thorogood and the Destroyers. George, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with us today.
Shane, our pleasure, believe me. Rock and roll never sleeps. It just passes out.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
And say goodbye to Gort. You want to say goodbye to Gort over here?
Yeah. Bye, Gort.
He's waving at you.
Yeah. Bye, Gort. All right. Thank you, George.
You're welcome.
Start it off. The sky is crying. Look at the tears roll down the street. The sky is crying. Look at the tears roll down the street. I feel sad and lonely. My baby's left me. Every morning, the weeping willow weep for me. Every morning, baby, the weeping willow weep for me. The birds sing me a little tune. I wish they'd sing my baby back home to me. at the tears roll down the street. The sky is crying. Look at the tears roll down the street. I feel sad and lonely, but baby's left for me.
Got that one. Yeah.
That's pretty flattering, you coming from Michigan. Are you from Michigan?
No. I've only been here about 5 years.
That's a while.
I lived in I lived in D.C. for 10 years. So and then
that's why you were bringing up all that other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah, and then I lived in New York for a few years, mostly on the East Coast.
Well, Michigan's a hotbed for rock and roll. I mean, you got Bob Seger,
Yeah,
you got Madonna,
yeah,
Iggy Pop,
yeah,
Grand Funk Railroad,
yeah,
Ted Nugent,
yeah,
Mitch Ryder and the Detroit Wheels,
yeah.
the Motown.
Question mark at the Mysterians.
You didn't let me finish.
We did a Michigan Music Marathon, and it was 36. It was like a fundraiser. We did 36 hours of nothing but Michigan artists, and it was just like insane how many Stevie Wonder's from here, and
Aretha Franklin.
Aretha. Mm-hmm. It was just like hit after hit.
I
after
know.
hit.
It is amazing. So when we were first booked there, we were like, "Wow, this is something." We'll get to come up there, and we're going to come up there ourselves. When we go play, we play a place called Pine Knob. Remember Pine Knob? Mm-hmm. Well, they changed the name of it, but everybody still calls it Pine Knob, and that was like a big deal up there. So we started going up to Michigan about 1979, playing up there, and then when we did that gig at that place, the Second Chance, we played it several times, and every time we played it, the drummer and bass player from Bob Seger's band would come to our show and come backstage and say hello, and that was always pretty cool. Yeah, they were there. I met them a couple times. Good people.
Yeah. Anytime Bob comes to Grand Rapids, I mean, it's just like sold out like that, and
Yeah.
there's just such a rich musical history in this state, from the East Side Detroit area, but there's also, you've got stuff in Bay City, you've got stuff in Grand Rapids going on. It's just,
Yeah.
the legacy that's here is just incredible.
We did a festival in Omaha where we had to go on after Ted Nugent. That will never happen again. Nobody goes on after the madman from Detroit. Okay.
You got to put this in a book. You got to write about. I would love to read more about this stuff.
Well, you know any publishers?
Music is my thing, not literary publishing and all of that. But like I said, I think you got some stories to tell. I know that your songs tell those stories, but just little tidbits like that, and like when you did that 50 States, you got yourself into shape for it, and because it's rigorous, and you're very serious about keeping yourself in shape because you're out on the road so much. And I don't know. I think a lot of people could learn.
I'll tell you, I'll keep it in mind. I'll keep it in mind.
Yeah.
I got the pictures ready.
Oh, I'm sure you do.
Now you know me.
You probably have some that won't ever be published, too.
That's true.
Oh, well, George, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Shane.
Yeah.
Hope to see you again soon.